Yep. Welcome, everybody. Still getting ready here. All right. That's pretty good. Welcome all. Hello. Got my funky glasses on. Hello. Well, my microphone's back. Woo woo. I got my cord from Amazon. I'm very excited. So YouTubers, hopefully you are hearing me and hearing me well. That's Sasha on the couch, kind of getting under the pillow as she's wont to do. Anyway, hello all. How are you doing today? Get my goat is ready. The goat is ready. Anyway, so I'm assuming you all can. I hit it again by accident. I'm assuming you all can hear me well. Let me get TikTok rolling here too. Hang on, but that's good. I'm so glad my my thing arrived from Amazon. God, I'm telling you, people don't like Amazon because the way they treat their employees. But man, they work. You know, it just freaking works. I love that site. Let me see here. Let me try that one. What the hell? Boop. All right. Anyway, hey guys. All right. I'm assuming YouTubers, you're not telling me. I'm assuming you can hear me fine, right? But usually it's a little delayed anyway. So hopefully you can. And now TikTok, I'm getting TikTok rolling here. Here we go. TikTokers, I'm assuming. Yep. Okay, good, Jason. Thank you. Thank you. Just checking. Yeah, it was my little dangle bobble thing that hangs on my microphone that broke. It breaks every few months. I think just the stress of using it on the show, it bends and it's a cheap little piece, but it annoys me. So I buy a new one for $15 like every 3 months. But what do you do? Hey Ash, hey TikTokers. Hey Bjorn, thank you for the gift. Anyway, hello all. I did not turn my air on. Maybe I will. Alexa, lower the temperature 1 degree. Ooh, lots of candy gifts here. Pedro, 73. Ava, Macabre, thank you guys for the gifts. Anyway, hello guys. Yes, so my microphone is back to working. I'm very happy. Thank you, Max Trax. I've got my new, like I said, my new little thing that hangs on the bottom of my microphone. I bought a new one on Amazon. It's here. Thank you, John. It works. Oops, trying to adjust this. Good enough. Anyway, hey guys, welcome all. It's a great day to support Ukraine. It sounds like Worf. Today is a good day to die. Thank you, Vicky. That's from Star Trek. Thank you, Alan. Xi and Putin meeting today. I don't even care. I mean, I care, but I don't care. I mean, we do have a China story today. We do have a China. I bought 3. Well, actually, I bought 1, Jeff, because I wanted to see if that was the problem, because otherwise I have several of them. And the new one worked, which means because there's several pieces I use that fit together. So that means that that piece is the problem. I bought 2 more today. Thank you, Ava. Thank you, Derek. Thank you, Family Lavery. Richard, all for the gifts. So yes, I have. Well, again, you don't buy the backup until you know the problem. I figured out today when I got the new part that part was the problem. So now I bought 2 more backups. So I've got enough, enough for the time being. So thank you, Hannah. Multiple gifts there. All right, guys. So welcome all. I am John Aravosis. This is my my nightly show I do Monday to Friday, 6 o'clock Eastern time, US. We talk about the latest news from Ukraine. Thank you, Elizabeth. We also talk about some other American news as well, or other world news. Tomorrow, being Independence Day in America, I should not be echoing Russell. Is it echoing for anybody else or just Russell on TikTok? Because the only reason it would be echoing is if my microphone actually isn't working for you guys over there on TikTok, and it should be. Just you. Okay, just you. Sorry. Russell, what you need to do is exit and come back. Folks say that often helps fix it. Okay, so the mic is, well, the way you can tell if the mic is back is when I do this, when it kind of gets louder and softer when I move the mic away, you can tell the mic is back. Thank you, Martin. Thank you, Vicky. Because this is also, this is my Michael Jackson mic. I think this is the mic he used in Thriller. Well, of course, it's not the mic he used in Thriller, but it's the same brand and style of mic he used in Thriller. And it's a very Assure. It's a very popular, high quality podcasting mic. So it took me forever to get this thing set up, so I'm glad it's working. Anyway, hey guys. So tomorrow, Independence Day in America, 4th of July. Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you. Who's that? Family Lavery, Elizabeth. So tomorrow, I'm going to be doing a show at 1 o'clock Eastern time, US. I won't be doing my show tomorrow night because with the fireworks and stuff, I want to kind of put on very loud television so my dog doesn't hear the fireworks outside. Thank you, Kevin. So I'm like it's just too, it's too upsetting for me to deal with the dog freaking out and the show and everything. So I will do a 1:00 show tomorrow. It will be a more casual hangout. We'll do it as one of our hangouts, meaning I'll review some of the news, but tomorrow's show will definitely be more of a hangout. That's true. We will have the UK election. When do you guys get results? When do you get election results in the UK? Like, when do they start to come in, and when do they know what the result is? Because tomorrow's the British elections. Is it like here it's often 7:00, 8:00 at night or something? Just wondering. 10:00. Ooh, 10 or 12. Okay. So you won't be knowing till late, which means even Friday morning. Okay. And you guys are probably 5 hours ahead of closing polls at 10:00. Oh my God. We don't do that here. Polls close at 10:00 in parts of the UK. Wow. Okay. Well, I think you're 5 hours ahead. It's 6:00 in the evening here on the East Coast of the US. I'm assuming it's 11:00 at night, where you guys are right now. I could ask Alexa, but then she talks and all of your Alexas go off, and you know how that is. Either way, it means we won't find out here. In other words, here it's going to be 4:00 at night, when there it's 9:00. So it's 5:00. So we won't know until the evening, even in America, what's up with your guys' polls over there. Okay. Anyway, so tomorrow I will not be doing a show tomorrow night. I will do a show at 1:00 in the afternoon, Washington, D.C., New York City time. I live in Washington. So just be aware of that. All right, guys? So join us. I did it a little. Thank you, Jen. Normally, I like to do the show. And if I do the show like that, I like to do it in the morning, to be honest. Like, I'd much rather do an 11 a.m. show. But for the Californians, I'm being nice. And, well, I guess Hawaiians and Alaskans, I'm being nice and decided I would not make you get up early. So I'm doing the show at 1 in the afternoon, which means there's at least a good chance that the Californians will be awake and caffeinated. So anyway, so yes, we've got a good amount of news today, guys. We can, I'm trying to think here, let's do the Ukraine news first. Then we can talk about Biden and the polls and all that kind of stuff. Oh, today is Manda's birthday. Oh, wait, real quick. Thank you, Ellie. Thank you, Eli or Ellie. Vaughn, Family Lavery for the gifts here. Ellie again. And Manda, it's moderator Amanda's birthday, so give her a hard time. Like, all the trolls, go bother Amanda. I'm calling her Amanda. Go bother Amanda today. Anyway, very funny. Very funny. Well, happy birthday, Amanda. Very swell. Yeah. So you're not on YouTube today. Oh, okay. Hopefully somebody is. So, well, if things break out, you know how it is. If things break out on YouTube, we'll get notice. Usually YouTube doesn't need more than one person to kind of peruse it. All right, guys, let's get rolling here. So today is day 860 of Vladimir Putin's special 3-day military operation in Ukraine. Oh, you are, Ash. Okay, good. Thanks, Ash. So kind of weird news on the peace plan front today. So first, Zelensky came out and kind of asked Trump to put up or shut up, but didn't say it that way because Trump may be president in the fall. So he didn't want to say put up or shut up. But Zelensky said today that, thank you, Sexseed. Thank you, Mark, for the roses. Zelensky said today that Trump should reveal his plan on ending the war in Ukraine. Thank you, Chinese, Japanese lettering pig. I'm going to have to learn the difference between Chinese and Japanese lettering. That looks Japanese to me. Is it Japanese? Pig person on TikTok? I'm very bad at this. I always ask you guys this and I always kind of forget. But for Japanese and Chinese, if I don't see them next to each other, they make me think they're the same. In any case, Chinese, it is Chinese. Okay, thank you, Skell. So yeah, so Zelensky, Trump has been putting out like noise in the last week. Well, Trump's been forever putting out noise like, oh, I've got a peace plan for Ukraine. And Zelensky came out and said, look, we want to know kind of what the peace plan is, right? And said today, if Trump knows how to finish the war, he should tell us today. If there are risks to Ukrainian independence, if we lose statehood, we want to be ready for this. We want to know. So what Zelensky's actually saying is thank you, Family Lavery, by the way. Lots of little gifts from you, Jen as well. What Zelensky is saying is, if Trump is going to sell Ukraine out, he should come out and say it now so the Ukrainians know, rather than all of a sudden Ukraine out of nowhere finds out that Trump has pulled all their money and caved and given Putin everything he wants. Well, the Trump people kind of responded today. Trump's national security staff talked to Politico today and basically said Trump is willing to give Putin a lot of what he wants to end the war. Kind of gross. Politico says a swift resolution of the 2.5-year Ukraine conflict would also likely play a key role in Trump's plans for NATO. As part of a plan for Ukraine that has not been previously reported, the presumptive GOP nominee is mulling a deal whereby NATO commits to no further eastward. Oh, he's not only going to give up Ukraine joining NATO, he's going to give up anybody joining NATO. Anybody in the East joining NATO. So Georgia too. We're going to give up more than Putin is even asking for. We're going to give up Ukraine joining NATO. We're going to give up Georgia joining NATO. And Trump will negotiate with Putin over how much Ukrainian territory Moscow can keep. He's talking about how much of Ukraine Trump will give away to Putin to stop the war. So Trump's big peace proposal is A, we give Putin what he wants, B, we give Putin what he wants, and C, we give Putin most of what he wants. I mean, this is so, again, he works for Vladimir Putin, guys. He is in Vladimir Putin's pocket. He is the most corrupt president in American history. There has been some weird thing going on with Trump and Russia from the beginning. Thank you, adventurers. We knew it from the beginning. The guy works for Russia. Putin either bribed him or Putin has dirt on him. It's one or the other. Or, excuse me, bribed him, has dirt on him, or Trump is trying to get a bribe because Trump is trying to get some hotel in Moscow and thinks if he hands over a couple countries to Russia, maybe the Russians will give him a hotel. But in Trump's case, it is always about lining Trump's pockets with money or saving Trump's ass because he's being blackmailed or something else. This is sickening. I mean, I just thank you, Pizdolis, for the gift. It's just sickening. It is so, and by the way, this is like how World War II started, guys. You don't appease dictators. It's not just like dictum. It's not just like, oh, it's a saying people say. When you appease dictators, what do you think happens? You give Putin land in Ukraine. You tell him, now we're not going to let Ukraine into NATO, and we're not going to let Georgia into NATO. So you know what happens there? Then the Russians go, you know what? This invasion of Ukraine was worth it. We were able to invade our neighbor, and we got promises out of NATO that we wanted. We got land that we wanted for free, right? Because now they can just have chunks of Ukraine, according to Trump. Why don't we do the same thing with Poland if we're Russia? Why don't the Russians invade Estonia? Maybe they can get more promises out of NATO. Maybe they can keep part of Estonia too, and maybe keep part of Poland while they're at it. Right? We know the Russians, by the way, the next thing the Russians will go after is Moldova. That's a guarantee. We know that. This is just typical. It is sick. This is Donald Trump. And I mean, I just, I get upset about this for a variety of reasons. One, because I do care about Ukraine. Two, I care about like doing the right thing. It's something that has been sort of a part of my life, that I've been a civil rights activist. I've done a lot of sort of things where I try to do good to help people. But see, it is very disturbing to me as an American to have a president who is a traitor, to have a president who loves America's enemies and a president who hates America and its allies. He doesn't believe in our freedom. He doesn't believe in our military. He thinks our militaries are suckers and losers. He tried to violently overthrow the country. He doesn't even believe in our Constitution. He doesn't believe in our freedoms. I mean, it blows my mind that this guy has more than 1% support in the polls. For the Republican, I mean, especially, and maybe as a Democrat, like Donald Trump would be the perfect old school Democrat, like this guy who hates the troops. He called our troops suckers and losers. American soldiers killed in action, he called suckers and losers because they got killed and they got captured. So they must have been suckers and losers, according to Trump. His own chief of staff, a former Marine Corps general, heard him and wrote it in a book. The general wrote his own book and said, Trump called our troops suckers and losers. Okay. I mean, it is especially boggling to me that a Republican Party would support this guy because he hates the troops. He hates the national defense. He hates our allies. He loves our enemies. He's corrupt as hell. His sexual mores are disgusting. His sense of religion is disgusting, right? He's the worst Christian ever. Again, when he claims to be a Christian, it's like, come on, right? Come on. Right? Trump as a Christian is like, I don't even know what to call that. I don't even know what to compare it to, right? He's as much of a Christian as my dog. Actually, my dog is a better Christian than Donald Trump because my dog has at least a good soul and she does nice things. She licks me, right? Donald Trump is just the worst Christian ever. It just boggles my freaking mind. Absolutely boggles my mind, And again, I love how the Trump supporters support this guy. He literally committed sexual assault. He was convicted of sexual assault. He was convicted of 34 felonies. They don't care, right? He sides with America's enemies. They don't care. He's best friends with Putin. He wants to get Putin. He literally stole American national security secrets and gave them away. They don't care. He gave national security secrets away to the Russians in the Oval Office too. Republicans don't care because they don't care about national security. They don't care about our troops. They don't care about America. They don't care about our freedom. They don't care about our democracy. They don't care about law enforcement. They want to defund the police now. That's the big MAGA call now, is they want to defund the police if they take over. They want to ban all abortion, and they've already managed to do it in 20 states. I mean, it boggles my mind that anybody would support this man at this point, and especially that a Republican would do it. Thank you, Lorraine. Thank you, Chazek. Thank you, Mustard. Who else we got here? It really does. Like, it really upsets me because Biden's old. Biden's old, but he's not a traitor. He's not threatening to start World War III. I mean, that's the thing. You caved to Putin and you are putting us at real risk of World War III. You are putting us at a risk of Putin doing it again in 5 years in the rest of Europe. First of all, he's going to do it again in Ukraine anyway. Thank you, Marie. He's just going to go and invade Ukraine again. But he absolutely could go after NATO, Estonia, Poland. I just boggles the mind. Thank you, Family Livery. Marty asks a super chat question from Canada. Maybe part of the deal, Trump will give Northern Arctic Territory of Canada also. Honestly, why not? No, I doubt that that's on the table. Thank you, PC Noel. Trump would sell his daughter, not Ivanka, because she's the daughter he thinks is hot, right? She's the daughter Trump said that he wishes he could sleep with, right? And that he would date if she weren't his daughter. He actually said that on The View, actually. I remember watching that tape again and again and again. He said it on Howard Stern, too. Trump always talks about how hot his daughter is and how he wants to sleep with her. It's disgusting. Again, Republican. Imagine a Democratic presidential candidate talking about wanting to sleep with his own daughter. The guy, that Democrat would never make it into office. The Republicans would still destroy him. Donald Trump does it, and all of a sudden Republicans go, yeah, sleeping with your daughter. That's kind of cool. That's kind of woke, you know? So yeah, I doubt Trump has plans to give away Canada to Russia, but would he? Of course he would. Of course he would. Thank you, Larissa. All the Russians have to do is say, here's a hotel in Moscow, Mr. Trump. Put your name on it. We want to grab part of Canada. You know Trump would do it. He'd be willing to do. The guy doesn't believe in anything except himself. He'll do anything you bribe him to do. And whether you bribe him with money or whether you bribe him with a threat of, holding something over his head, blackmail. No, it sickens me. It absolutely sickens me. And again, Biden's old. Yeah. But guess what? Old doesn't start World War III. Appeasing the Russians starts World War III, right? Old isn't sexual assault. Old isn't stealing our nuclear secrets. Old isn't violently trying to overthrow the government. You go through all of that. I mean, frankly, Middle East as well. I mean, all the young people bitching about Gaza. Really? You wait until your buddy Donald Trump comes over, who hates the Palestinians, or RFK Jr., who hates the Palestinians almost as much as Donald Trump does. You wait until they win office, and you want to see how well your little Palestinian friends are doing because you don't think Biden's doing enough. You wait and see what's going to happen. Hardy, har, 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 as Nancy Pelosi likes to say. Thank you, Alex. I mean, no, like at this point, what we've the decision for the Supreme Court on Monday about immunity for Trump, like that's not enough to educate. Like even the immunity decision that we now basically gave the president permission to like kill people, like to possibly kill his political opponents, and Americans go, yeah, I know Trump like got rid of abortion in America, right? He took away your right to choose. Right. But, he tried to violently overthrow the government, but the other guy's kind of old. Yeah. What the hell? It's 1933 and it's Europe. And one guy has a really nasty plan for the world. And maybe the other guy's a little old. So I don't know. Let's go with the guy. By the way, it's not like this is conjecture or something. It's not like we don't know who Trump is. We know who Trump is. Right? We've had him for 4 years as president. We had him for another 4 years mouthing off. We know exactly who Trump is. He's the guy who tried to violently overthrow our government. He's the guy convicted of sexual assault. How much more do you people, not you people, but how much more do the American people need? Man, it pisses me off. There, that was for Amanda and her birthday because I wanted all the Russian trolls to come and drive her crazy. Give her a little feistiness in the comments. My God. Anyway, now the second part is interesting. Thank you, Celtic Archer, or Celtic, depending how you say it. I guess how do the Brits say, or the Welsh, or wherever Celtic is considered from? How do you guys say Celtic or Celtic? Just curious. Thank you, Ivanka. Ivanka, that's funny. Talking about Trump. Different Ivanka in Donetsk. Thank you, Jeddah. How do you guys say that? Do you say Celtic? You say Celtic. K. You say K. Okay. Okay. I assumed it was K, Celtic, which is sort of why I say it that way now, because that's kind of the way I always heard it. But we do, well, but we say like the Boston Celtics is it basketball? I always forget the team. Thank you, Annie. Appreciate that. Only in the NBA, it's a S. That's what I was going to say. Like, I'm assuming that's what it is, you know? Anyway. All right, let's get rolling here. So, the other part of Trump's plan for NATO is dangerous, but interesting. Again, let me read this. The second part is, again, I say this as somebody who says Donald Trump is the worst president in American history. He's a rapist. He's a traitor. He hates the troops. But his proposal on NATO is dangerous, but interesting. Listen to this. Also from Politico. Trump in Article 5. Another part of the emerging Trump game plan is a two-tier NATO system. The idea first proposed by another senior former Trump administration official means that member countries of NATO that have not yet met the target of spending 2% of their GDP, which is their economy, on defense, wouldn't enjoy the defense largesse and security guarantee of the United States, according to the Trump official. Trump has voiced this before. What they're saying is NATO, about 20 years ago, NATO got together. NATO's been around, since 1949, I guess, just celebrated for 75 years. And NATO countries got together 20 years ago and said, as a goal, as a promise, each NATO country must spend 2% of their GDP on defense, meaning each of your defense budgets have to be equal to 2% of your economy overall. So 2% of your economy has to be spent on defense. That's sort of a simple way of, I may be not saying this perfect for the economists, but that's the general idea. 2% so it's based on the size of your economy. If you have a smaller economy, that 2% is smaller. If you're a big economy, that 2% is bigger, right? Well, it's been 20 years. Most NATO countries did not keep their promise. The US spent more than 2%. Poland spent more than 2%. I think Estonia did. I don't have the list in front of me. But up until recently, it was way fewer than half of the NATO countries that had not put 2% towards their defense spending. Under Trump, he threatened them a lot. They started to pay more. Under Biden, they started to pay even more. And by the way, under Biden, some of it could have been Trump's threat. I suspect under Biden, the NATO countries spent more on defense because they're suddenly terrified of the Soviets, of the Russians, because Russia's back. And Russia's, as Yulia says, Russia never left, but Russia's back, Russia's evil. The problem is fewer than half of NATO countries are paying their 2% to national defense. Now, this is not money that goes to NATO. This is literally the defense budget in each country. They promised the defense budget in each country would be a certain size, and more than half of them are not spending what they claimed they would. Trump's point, which is a valid point, I will say. Again, I'm happy to excoriate the guy because he's a pig and the worst president in American history, but he is correct that it's bullshit that the United States has to pledge its nuclear umbrella to protect Europe if Europe isn't going to spend its own money on its own defense. What Trump has said, and he just said it, and his advisor said again today was, and this is the part that gets cute but dangerous. He said the U.S. will only extend its nuclear umbrella. We will only come to the aid, not even nuclear umbrella. We will only come to the aid of European countries that are attacked if they spend 2% or more on defense. So if they meet their promise. I'm 50-50 on this for this reason. Maybe I'm 51% against, because Trump is right. It is bullshit. We shouldn't be. Why are we promising to go to war for a European country and spend our lives and our military when they're not willing to even spend their own money on their own defense? And they promised to, right? This isn't like we don't think you're spending enough. You literally promise to spend more and you're not. I agree. It is bullshit. And frankly, Ireland's in the same position. Ireland's not a member of NATO, and we're going to come and defend Ireland. It's kind of bullshit, frankly. It's the free rider, they call it in economics. I believe free rider would apply to this. We're basically somebody who sits back and doesn't do anything, but gets to watch everybody else pay for it and then benefits from it. It's as if you don't pay your taxes, but you benefit from all the benefits of taxes. Like you cheat on your taxes and everybody else pays their taxes, right? So in other words, the US is paying taxes. Austria is a free rider as well. Gunther, correct. So Trump is right about that. It's bullshit that we're saying we'll go to war for you if you're not willing to defend yourself, because guess what? When we say we'll go to war for you, it means you don't have to spend your money on defense, right? Because America, right? I mean, if you're anyone in Europe, who's going to attack you, right? If you're Germany, if you're France, or any of these, I mean, who's going to attack you? I don't mean to pick these countries out because I don't remember where their numbers are right now. I think Germany may be one that was going to get there by the end of the year. I'm not sure. But it is true that it is a disincentive to European countries to spend money on defense, knowing the Americans will come to their aid. The problem is, by announcing that we will not come to the aid of half of Europe, you are providing Vladimir Putin an incentive to invade, right? The whole point of stopping a war tends to be the bad guy is convinced you'll go to war. If the bad guy is convinced you won't go to war if he invades, because you've literally said you can attack these, however, NATO's 32, these 16 countries, Putin, and I won't respond, that gives a very good incentive for Putin to attack those 16 countries. That's the problem. Thank you, Marsha, for multiple gifts there. That's the problem. But Trump does have a point. As I said, he's got a point about this. It's bullshit that we have to use the American military to forget American military. Any of us in NATO, forget Americans, any of us in NATO, we all pledge to defend each other. We should not be defending each other unless everybody's spending the same amount or more of money. It's not fair to the Poles. The Poles are spending 4%. Why is Poland going to go and defend the rest of Europe when it's spending more than everybody else in Europe? Unless the other Europeans are at least meeting the minimal promise. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is one of those areas where at least Trump got it half right. He's still risking nuclear war, which is Trump's typical way of doing things, but he's not wrong about trying to come down hard on the Europeans, the bad Europeans. And I don't have that list in front of me. I should have kept it on my computer. The list of the how much was it? Let me Google really quick and see if I can find that list. I will say this: the first time I Googled that, not the first time, but when I Googled that list a while ago of the NATO, NATO countries 2%, it was not an easy list to find at first. But let me see if I can find it. June. Let's see if this has it. There's a document from NATO. I doubt this document's going to have it. I doubt it. Hang on. Let's see. 2024. Let's see. Full document in PDF. Well, 2014. We want the percentage. I'm going to look here, but I remember this not being easy last time I tried to pull this up. Let me take a quick look here and see if they have the percentage. Let's see. Number of allies meeting. Number of allies meeting 2%. So actually 2024 estimate. So up until this year, it was a disaster. Okay. Under Obama, 3 NATO allies met the 2%. Next year, 5, next year, 5, next year, 4, next year, 6. Under Trump, 7, 9. Under Trump, it would be probably 4, 6, 7, 9. So it went up to 9. That was good. Under Biden, it dropped to 6 again, then 7, then 10. That's good. And this year is expected to jump to 23. That's very good. Now, the 23, I will bet you, is because of Putin's invasion of Ukraine, but I'll bet you it's also because of Donald Trump. I think the Trump threat probably made a difference. Now, I'm trying to look here to see who has, they're not making this easy. As a share of GDP. Okay, here we go. Hang on here. Defense expenditure as a share of GDP. 2024 is dark. So we've got Poland, Estonia, US, Latvia, Greece, Lithuania. These are the good guys. Finland, Denmark, UK, Romania, interesting. North Macedonia, interesting. Norway, Bulgaria, Sweden, Germany, Hungary, interesting because they suck. No offense, love you Hungarians, but your Orban's a pig. Czechia, which is Czech Republic, they spend enough. Turkey spends enough. France just spends enough. Netherlands just spends enough. Albania just spends enough. Montenegro, Slovakia is literally on the border, 2%, and then the bad guys. This is, I believe, estimated this year, probably. Yeah, this is this year. The bad guys this year are Croatia, Portugal, Italy, really bad. Canada, even worse. Belgium, these are descending worse and worse. Belgium, Luxembourg, Slovenia, and Spain. Okay, that's an interesting list, actually. I may keep that list. I like that. Hang on. I'm gonna copy that list and keep it because that is actually kind of a useful list. So there you go. You know, I mean, it's certainly better than it was. It's much better than it was. Hang on, I'm going to put NATO 2%. This way, when I search for it in the future, there it is. I can find it in the future. There we go. Yeah, so, you know, it's better. It's better. So, yeah, Canada's under 2%. That's what we said. Yeah, Canada is surprising to me. I'm a little surprised on that one. Not good. Not good. But it's much better. Oh, thank you, Annie. Did I miss any gifts while I was doing that? Hang on, Marsha. I probably say that every time I see your name, Marsha. Oh, more Marsha. Number of Marshas here. I see Cole followed me. Thank you, Cole, for doing that. I always forget to tell folks to follow me. Please do follow me. Anyway, so that was interesting. That's interesting. A little bit more here. Bloomberg, Russia and China are working together to produce a version of the Iran Shahed drone that could be used on the battlefields of Ukraine. This, according to European intelligence sources. The drones themselves are still in the test and development phase, have not yet been deployed in Ukraine. Thank you, MNJ. Thank you, Jen. The drones themselves, the U.S. assessment is China is weighing whether to send fully built unmanned aerial vehicles to Ukraine, but in the meantime is sending kits. Okay, this is what I thought. The U.S. assessment is China is weighing whether to send fully built unmanned drones, but in the meantime, they're sending kits that can be converted into attack drones. That pisses me off. So basically, the Chinese haven't decided yet if they're going to send drones to Russia, but they're sending kits to make drones. Well, what's the freaking difference? So a Russian lady in a factory's got to put the pieces together? I mean, give me a break, right? This pisses me off. And part of the reason is, maybe the large reason is, China's trying to get around the whole, if they send a kit, then they're not really sending lethal weapons. They're sending little bits that can form. It's like Stargate and the replicators. It's only little pieces of a replicator that together make a replicator. But any of you who are geeks know what I'm talking about. Right. And the idea is China gets away with saying, we're not giving lethal aid to Ukraine because we're not giving them drones. We're just giving them all the parts to make a drone. Well, if they give lethal aid to Ukraine, then it would be a violation of sanctions. And then we would punish China and sanction them economically and everything else. So the U.S. is frankly playing a game by saying that China hasn't broken the rules. And China's playing a game by giving Russia all the parts to make drones, but not making the drones for them. It's kind of a joke sort of on all sides here. Little more. NATO allies have agreed to fund military aid for Ukraine with 40 billion euros or $43 billion over the next year. The Kyiv Independent says that a Ukrainian drone attack damaged Russia's. This was an interesting story, actually. I did a little more. Thank you, Jason, for the rose. Janice for the heart. By the way, I always forget to remind folks, please do keep the gifts coming. Remember, I do this full time. But the way I've been able to do this show for over 2 years now is with your gifts. That's how I pay the bills. That's how I pay my taxes. So please do keep the gifts coming. I appreciate it. So, and remember, memberships. We like subscribers. Become a paid subscriber. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, Sydney. Paid subscribers on TikTok and YouTube really help because that's a monthly thing, which is way better than me having to beg every day. So I appreciate that. Thank you, Bjorn. Thank you, Marsha and Sydney and Timothy. So Kyiv Independent, a Ukrainian drone attacked. Oh, I see. Hang on. I'm looking at these here. Your daughter is marrying a Marine today. Woo woo, Danny. Congratulations. Timothy, thank you for the gift. Jen, Bjorn, Sydney. Okay, we got a number of you guys there. So, okay. A Ukrainian drone damaged and attacked Russia's only full-cycle metallurgical enterprise, sources say. I did a little more research on this because the writing was kind of thick. This is from the Kyiv Independent. They wrote this a little Ukrainian, I will say, or a little Russian, no offense. They carried out the drone attack on July 1st, seriously damaged the Russian military-industrial complex. The facility produces high-quality steel, including alloyed specialty steels for the automotive and mechanical engineering industries. It uses the blast-free direct reduction technology and electric arc melting. Considering that the plant was, this was the best part, considering that the plant was built by German specialists using German technology, it will likely be difficult to restart the plant's operations without their participation. So that's the cool part. This is the only plant of its kind in Russia. And they pretty much need the Germans to rebuild it for them. It's like, oh, guess you're not getting German help right now. Sorry. So that's really good. Thank you, Jennifer. Oh, Gunther got it. That's cute. Thank you, Jennifer. Gunther, you got the gift. Congratulations. So let's keep going here. Oh, this was an interesting story too. Do you remember in April, there was a Russian ship on fire, and it was in Kaliningrad, which is the territory in Europe that the Russians stole after World War II when they stole everything else. Here's Russia, here's Ukraine, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, Poland. Kaliningrad's this little area right here. It's a little piece of Russia in the middle of Europe, basically right here. And Russian military ship caught on fire. And I remember at the time, a lot of us were going, that's it. I think I may not have even reported on the story because you guys brought it up and I said, we don't really know if Ukraine had a hand in it. Well, guess what? Ukraine had a hand in it. The Ukrainian drone, sabotage of a military vessel in Kaliningrad was part of a joint operation of the Freedom of Russia Legion. That's the Russians who are Russian rebels who are working for Ukraine. It was a joint operation of the Freedom of Russia Legion and Ukraine's military intelligence. The Russian ship Serpukhov was set on fire on April 8th while docked in Kaliningrad. The sabotage was by Russian citizens. So the Ukrainians worked with the Russians, and it was the Russians that sabotaged it, which I think is just amazing. It completely destroyed the ship's communications and automation systems, necessitating long repairs. So, thank you, Magnus, for the rose. A little more here. The U.S. announced a new defense aid package for Ukraine worth $150 million. The package includes missiles for air defense systems, ammunition for HIMARS, artillery rounds, and other critical capabilities. Pentagon spokesman Major General Pat Ryder, this was interesting. Pentagon spokesman Major General Pat Ryder told a briefing yesterday that Kyiv's troops could strike the Ukrainian peninsula of Crimea with long-range missiles provided by the U.S. because it's part of Ukraine. So basically, the question was, okay, how do the Americans feel about Ukraine using the new long-range missiles, the ATACMS we've given them? We don't want them using them to attack in Russia, or at least long distance in Russia. I'm getting confused about this now. How do you feel about the Ukrainians using it to attack Crimea? Crimea is the Ukrainian territory in southern Ukraine that Russia invaded and stole in 2014. The Pentagon said, go for it, because Crimea is part of Ukraine. Well, the Russians, what did the Russians do? The Russians issued one of their BS threats that means absolutely nothing. I'm going to read it just so I can laugh. Russia's Deputy Foreign Minister Sergei Ryabkov said the statement by the U.S. had the potential to expand the conflict. Really? How's that? I would love to get these Russians like almost on the show and go, okay, so what you're saying is if we let the Ukrainians attack Crimea, which is Ukraine, occupied by you, with our weapons, that runs the risk of expanding the conflict, meaning we go to war with you. How does that work exactly? Because if we go to war with you, you lose, Russia. Our military is bigger than yours and better than yours. The U.S. military alone is better than Russia's. NATO's military kicks Russia's ass to the moon. I mean, U.S. alone, we would destroy Russia, but the NATO's military, forget it. So how does that work? Literally I wish to God, I will say this, like if we had a Reagan or somebody, he probably would do it. Thank you, Tiny Tiny. Reagan had his problems, but Reagan would probably go public and go, how would you do it? Right? You can't go to war with us. You'd lose. Right? So why should we care? It's a bullshit threat. It's just a typical bullshit threat from the Russians. But as I said, especially when, and I always say this, and thank you, Angela, You may be afraid of going to war with Russia. You know who's the only person or the only people more afraid of going to war with Russia than you? The Russians themselves. They're terrified of going to war with us because they know they'd lose. And again, nuclear weapons, nobody cares, Pablo. Nobody cares. Pablo says nuclear weapons. Nobody cares. Hey, Pablo, guess what? Pablo's big, insightful point for us, by the way, is Russia has nukes. Wow, Pablo, nobody knew had Russia. Who wants to tell Pablo who else has nukes? Anybody? Anybody? Oh, I'll do it. We have nukes. The Brits have nukes. The French have nukes. Guess what happens, Pablo? Russia uses its nukes and we nuke them back. So once again, we get to the part of the show, like I said, where I sit down with the Russians and I go, okay, Russians, or in this case, Russian troll, Pablo, you're saying you would use your nukes against us if we let the Ukrainians attack Crimea. Why would you use your nukes against us if we'd nuke you back? Why would that happen, right? You're not going to use nukes if we nuke you back. You're not, literally. The plan is you're going to use your nukes to nuke us, knowing we're going to kill everyone in Russia in response with nuclear weapons. Why would you do that? Which I hope we never do. But why would you? You're not going to do it. You're not going to do it, right? No, but this is how the Russian trolls work. This is how the Russian propaganda works. It is all about scaring you and scaring me and scaring us into letting the Russians be the bad guys and letting the Russians terrorize the world just they have for over 100 years. Thank you, aviation. They were horrific as the Soviet Union, and they're not very nice now as a government. They're still another dictator now. And the way they get their way is by scaring everybody and going, I'm gonna be mean to you. And it's, you know what? Like, what was this from Grimm? This wouldn't be the I guess this would be the boy who cried wolf, I guess. Right? This would be the boy who cried wolf, I guess. It's like, it really does. I mean, and they're so good at it. The Russians are so good at going, we have nukes. And everybody in the West goes, oh my God, they have nukes. Until somebody finally goes, right, and we have nukes too. So why would the Russians use it? Right? All right. Final point. Okay, this was interesting. This was from Finland. The Finnish president said today that a single phone call from Xi, the Chinese dictator, to Vladimir Putin could end the war. He told Bloomberg that Moscow was now so reliant on Beijing's support that if the Chinese leader called for peace negotiations to start, Russia would be forced to do that. Quote, one phone call from President Xi Jinping would solve this crisis. What is interesting to me about that is, and I've mentioned this to you guys before over the last couple of weeks, I think there is a concerted effort by NATO countries, and we're doing it with Ukraine, to embarrass the Chinese for their support of Russia. That's what's going on. That's what's going on with that other story I just read about how the Chinese are giving the Russian drone parts, right? I'm trying to remember in the last couple of weeks, there were multiple, Zelensky called out China. We called out China a few times. There have been multiple NATO countries calling out the Chinese for their support of Russia, trying to embarrass China, basically. I'm not sure what's going on, but I'm very intrigued by this. I'm just very intrigued by this. Anyway, something's going on, I guess. I'm just not sure what it is, but something's going on with sort of the NATO countries deciding that there is, my point here is they seem to think that China feels some kind of pressure. Thank you, Russell. China will feel some kind of international pressure for being called out as basically a hegemonic dictator, you know? So, anyway, all right. China is all about the money. This is true. All right. So, yeah, let's do our hangout part of the show. So this is the part of the show where we hang out. You guys ask questions. You guys give your own comments. La, la, la. So talk to me. Talk to me. I did see that the Duda was in China last week, the Polish president. Yes, or in the past week. Oh, hey, Silver Fox. Thank you for the music there. Do I think Biden will drop out? I think he's thinking about it. I feel like, again, this is difficult to read the tea leaves. I feel like there's, we sort of say a greater than zero chance, meaning it's not nothing. I think there's a greater than zero chance that Biden is thinking about leaving the race. I'm not convinced he's seriously thinking about leaving the race, but I think the thought probably crossed his mind. The problem is, it's really not clear. As I said, it's not clear that that this would help. Kamala Harris does, I think, a little bit better than Biden in some of the recent polls, who's the current vice president. She could be problematic as well. I mean, she's considered very, now I will say this, she's considered polemical because Republicans have made her polemical. That's what they do. Kamala Harris is not a polemical person. I like her. I think she's very smart. She's a former prosecutor, which I like. I like her personality. I like her. I think she's very, again, I think she's really smart. But you know, the Republicans have done a good job of demonizing her. So, you know, could she win? Would it cause so much turmoil? Or I will say this. I saw, you know, CNN has been just like enjoying itself going after Biden on all this, just nonstop all day long. And somebody on CNN said, which I thought was total bullshit. Thank you, Andrea. Oh, it was a Republican on CNN who said, oh, which to me says he's afraid of Kamala Harris. He said, oh, if Kamala Harris were to take over for Biden, she'd have to defend the Biden economic record and all the Biden record. First of all, I got news for you. Who do you think would do a better job defending Biden's record? Biden or Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris. I mean, Biden, we've said this, Biden is terrible at defending himself. Even before the last debate, Biden has always been terrible. I've complained about this on Ukraine. He does a terrible job. I think Biden has a little bit of an ego problem that he thinks he doesn't have to market himself. He doesn't have to sell himself because his ideas are so good, right? Kamala Harris, on the other hand, I think would do an amazing job. Kamala Harris on that stage would have been amazing going after Trump. She would have destroyed Trump on abortion. She would have destroyed Trump on Ukraine, right? The importance of fighting in Ukraine and helping our allies and not siding with our enemies. I mean, Trump on sexual assault. I mean, imagine all the stuff Kamala Harris would do. I think she'd be way better than Biden at defending the Biden agenda because Biden is terrible at defending. Biden doesn't defend anything. I mean, that was one of the most annoying parts. Thank you, Marty. I'll get to it in a second. For me, one of the most annoying parts about the presidential debates wasn't just that Biden looked old. It was watching it, and Trump would say, Trump just lied throughout the entire thing. And Trump would just say bullshit, and Biden would let him do it. Like Trump said, you know, oh, Biden added more to the deficit than I did. He spent more money. He spent so much. Those Democrats spent so much money. Well, guess what? I read this right before the debate. In fact, Trump spent way more money than in his 4 years than Biden did in his 4 years. Trump added like twice the amount to the deficit than Biden did. And if you take COVID out of the picture, so take a whole year of Trump spending out of all the COVID money, that 1 year out of the picture. In 3 years, not COVID, Trump spent more money than Biden did in 4 years. Okay? I mean, that would be one example. And Kamala Harris would have destroyed him. When Trump tried to talk about abortion, she would have destroyed him. I mean, so I will say that there is a part of me that says Biden steps aside and you get somebody like Kamala Harris in there who is like, boom, boom, boom. I will say this too. I hadn't thought about this till now. I mean, I'm not saying he should step aside. I still think there's a big danger there. But Kamala Harris becomes, well, first of all, maybe she just becomes president. But you really want to do it? Make her president for the next 5 months, right? You could do that. She becomes president, and what happens? She gets, think about this, guys. Again, I'm saying like just devil's advocating this, okay? Biden literally resigns. Kamala becomes president. It would be a huge story, right? I mean, no matter what you think of her, right? It would be a huge story. The press would go crazy. For the next 5 months, everything Kamala Harris says would be worldwide, forget the world, would be America-wide news. The American press would go crazy. Everything Kamala Harris says in the next 5 months, they would cover nonstop because she'd be a novelty. It'd be, oh my God, Biden resigned, and this, mind you, African-American woman, Asian-American too, is now president. She would get nonstop coverage, and she would use that coverage to destroy Donald Trump and to defend the Biden-Harris legacy. I mean, I hadn't thought about it till now, but on the media front, she would be such a novelty that they would be eating out of her hand with coverage. Now, having said that, do I think CNN and the rest of the media would find some kind of butt her emails on Kamala Harris? Of course they would. They would find something to demonize her just in the same way they're demonizing Biden. But still, I hadn't thought about it. It is interesting. Thank you, world is my oyster, for the gift. Marty wrote that Canada is spending $75 billion a year to only have 1.4% of the NATO target, but Latvia spends 0.84 billion a year to be over 2%. Correct, but Marty, that's because Canada's richer than Latvia. Right? I mean, that's why we do percentages. It's not fair to say, well, the poor guy down the block only gives $200 a year to charity. I give $300. Well, the poor guy is giving like one of his paychecks, right? If I'm giving $300, I'm giving a small percentage of my paycheck, right? But the poor guy is giving his entire paycheck. That's why you have to look at the percentage of the money given for different countries, because it depends how rich your country is, how much money you can afford. But I would say that is a fair way of looking at it as a percentage, because you say, let's look at the size of your economy and what you can afford, and then giving 2%. So anyway, thank you, Kiara. Thank you, Jeff. Keep the gifts coming, guys. Anyway, what else we got? So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think there's a small chance of Biden letting Kamala Harris run. But I do think he's old. The problem is, it's disgusting that any American, I mean, literally, they should vote for my dog over Donald Trump. I mean, it's sickening that anybody would even vote for the man. But you know, yeah, Solak, Trump always gets it wrong and says, it's the dues paid to NATO that NATO countries aren't paying. There are no dues paid to NATO. Trump, I will say this, after 8 years, it's a bit unsettling that Donald Trump still doesn't know how NATO worked. He was president for 4 years. He still doesn't know how NATO works. He still literally sits there and goes, free Pakistan? I'm not sure what Pakistan is, but okie dokie. Pakistan. Free Pakistan. That was one of the better troll. I forgot who was it that was keeping those lists. I forgot if it was Flower Lady or I'm forgetting the names now. I'm forgetting. One of you was keeping a nice list of all the troll misstatements, which is where we got Russia is losing, or no, Ukraine is losing, which was great. But that was pretty good. Free Pakistan. Free Pakistan. Okay. Free Pakistan. Anyway. Was it you, Dawn? I remember it was one of the women doing it. It's hard to keep up. I still think it's pretty funny. Free Pakistan is pretty good. No, granted, that was probably a typo. I mean, obviously it was a typo, but still it makes me laugh. Free Pakistan. Okay. Yeah. Bye, Ali. The problem is you're a Russian, Ali. You're not down under. What else we got? Thank you for the candy. Who was the candy from? 8 Life. Thank you, 8 Life, for that. A few first screenshots. Thanks, Flower Lady. Oh, what else we got, guys? Oh, boy. My back is hurting me today. I'm not sure why. I got one of those like where you bend over to pick something up and your back goes tight and you go, uh-oh. Oh, thank you, Buccaneer. I'm not sure why, but for some reason my back went a little bit tight today. I have a calcium supplement. I've got to look for it. I think sometimes things like that are calcium, at least from what I've read, and magnesium. It's the muscles. The muscles will just get tight in my back sometimes. You can see the fireworks from my apartment, but it's so small. Like you can see them off my balcony, but you can also see it from the roof. But they're so small that I've done it before just to do it. But it's not really. It could be drinking too. No, it could be the water. It could be that I have a drinking problem, Juan. Correct. I forgot about that. You're right. It could be that I've got to drink more water. I've got to remember to do that. You're right about, especially with the way the heat's been lately. You're right about that. As I sip more water as we are talking. Pete would be great. Probably better as a VP. I agree. What else we got, guys? Yeah, I don't believe it, Alank. That's the problem. Alank was asking about the Russians claimed some great military success. I don't repeat stories of Russians claiming military success because they're pathological liars. There's just no point in covering it. If Institute for the Study of War says Ukraine lost this city or Ukraine lost these planes or whatever, then I'll cover it. But the Russians saying it, I mean, why? They're just liars, but they just lie. I mean, yeah, so that's why I didn't cover it. No, I know about that story, but there's also a story today. The Russians claimed success on the outskirts of a certain town. I wasn't going to tell you because it's the Russians. They just lie about everything. I mean, they literally do. Russian federal policy is to lie on foreign policy pathologically. So that's why. Yeah. So that's why I didn't mention it today, because you just can't trust them. You just can't trust them. The Americans are not liars. Actually, Donald Trump's as big a liar. Yes. Donald Trump is as big a liar as the Russians. Otherwise, NATO overall, Western countries, Asian countries, no. Our governments are not, as I say, it's the difference between Donald Trump and normal human beings, right? Every human being tells a white lie when they have to, right? Most human beings are not pathological liars. They don't lie about everything. Donald Trump lies about everything. The Russians are the Donald Trump of countries. They lie about everything. The country, the government is pathological liars. Thank you, 8 Life. So yeah. But America lies as much as the Russians when Donald Trump is president. Yes. But only when Donald Trump is president. Otherwise, other Republican presidents have not lied nearly as much as the Russians do. Because literally, it's every word out of their mouth. So you can't trust what they're saying is happening in the war. Oh, Richard, I'm so glad we had this time together. Goodbye, Richard, on TikTok. You lie! You lie! Wait. You lie! You lie! I love this thing. I haven't used him in a while. Oh, I forgot. You guys told me, is this a chipmunk? What is this thing? Is it a chip? It's cute, actually. Is it a chipmunk or what is this? I always forget what this is exactly. He's got a little tail. He's cute. He's cute. You lie! Which also, by the way, is such a Russian talking point. I mean, literally, it's a hamster? Oh, maybe it's a hamster. Okay. It's a rodent. We know it's a rodent, exactly. But I love the Russian, like, you lie. Because usually, like, wasn't it yesterday when I was talking about the cherry pie I want to make? You lie about cherry pie? I don't think so. And by the way, I still need to make, I have the cherries thawed in the fridge now, but I need to make it. Maybe I'll see about making the crust tonight and letting it cool overnight or something, because it kind of has to sit in the fridge a couple hours. And I'll make cherry pie for myself tomorrow. My lonely 4th of July. Nobody's doing anything interesting. And it's also hotter than hell tomorrow, unfortunately. Thank you, Kiara. Very hot tomorrow. F-16's coming in July. I would hope so, Alex. I don't know that they are. They're coming soon. I mean, there was a story from the Netherlands yesterday, but it was kind of a bullshit story. Yesterday, the day before, the the Dutch prime minister or somebody said, the F-16s are coming soon. We got some approvals we needed from the Americans, but she wouldn't say when and she wouldn't say how many. And I was like, okay, well, how is that news? They're coming. We know they're coming soon, right? So, yes, election day in the UK tomorrow. Don't vote for the crazies. Not to mention, like, the Brits. Didn't you learn your lesson with Brexit? You literally listened to these right-wing crazies, the Reform Party, the Nigel Farage, and they screwed you. And you people here know this. I mean, I'm not telling you anything you don't know. You know what I mean? But still, the French jets, they're being trained on the French jets. The plan was that they would be trained between, it takes a couple months to get the training going. They would be trained between like August and December on the French jets, and they wouldn't get the French jets until the end of the year, so the end of December or something like that. So there's no reason to believe the French fighter jets are not still on target for the Ukrainians. Hopefully, a space alien. Yeah. Anyway, oh boy, I'm tired. My dog keeps waking me up. Oh. And I don't sleep well. I mean, like, I always sleep light. So every time she moves in bed, she wakes me up and I'm like, oh. So anyway. I don't even know what that means. Actually, I wasn't sure. Actually, I wasn't sure what that guy meant. Was he? I don't know which side he was on, actually. I mean that legitimately. I'm kind of not sure about that one. I was trying to make sense of the quote, and I couldn't quite tell if his comment was like saying, you know what I mean? Like saying it's bullshit to claim people who necessarily don't want to negotiate are for war, or whether he was saying people who don't want to negotiate are for war, right? Anyway, not sure about that one. I would Was that what he was saying? Anybody who doesn't want peace is a Satanist? Okay. Well, I thought the Satanist word made me think he was a nut job because who talks about Satanism? Okay. Just curious. That's fine then. Yeah. I wasn't quite sure what he meant by that. Yeah. I was literally trying to read it and understand it as you blocked it. I was going, what is this guy saying? Anyway. Waking up early could be the problem with my back. It might be. I mean, I then go back to sleep, but literally she wakes me up like 3 times in the middle of the night so that it's just, I don't sleep as well as I would because, she wakes me up at 6 a.m. She wakes me up at 7, at 8. And I'm just like, I'm going to freaking kill you, So anyway, I don't have the energy to do Discord tonight. I know I should, Sobo, but I just don't have the energy tonight. I'm exhausted. Even though we're done early, I agree, but I'm just too tired. I'm sorry. And we are doing a show at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Remember, 1 o'clock Eastern, guys. Remember, tomorrow's show will be early. Oh, hey, Misha. Hope things are well in Ohio. Riding horses. Fun. Did you have horses in Russia too, or no? That's Misha, our Russian friend who left and they moved to Ohio, which I find fascinating, moving to Ohio. But what else we got? What else? You think Labor? No, I don't think anybody thinks Labor is going to win the election. Oh, no, Labor will. I'm sorry. Yes, of course, Labor will win the election. Yeah, I know that. Yeah. Sorry, I was spacing out. Folklife. Oh, the Folklife Festival's tomorrow? I forgot about that. It depends how hot it is. The problem is this time of year, it's just gross out. Like, I'm trying to, Alexa, what's the weather forecast for tomorrow? Let's see.
Tomorrow in Washington, there will be some sun and thunderstorms with a high of 93 degrees Fahrenheit and a low of 74 degrees. Also, there's a heat advisory in effect on Thursday, July 3rd from 12 p.m. to 8 p.m.
93 degrees and humid tomorrow. I don't know. I'd consider going down to the fest. The other problem is because everyone else is down on the mall for the fireworks, I'd be a little afraid of trying to get an Uber out of there, but maybe. Yeah, but it's not, Gunther, you don't live in Washington. 93 means 93 and dew point from hell is what it means. So like it is, the dew point is so bad here that it could be like 80 degrees and gross. It's just like, ugh. Yeah. Let's see. I would like to go. I forgot that I've never been to the folk festival or Folklife Festival. Maybe I will go tomorrow. We'll see. Paula, it's freezing. Where are you that it's freezing? Thank you, Net Zero, for subscribing. Or as always, unless someone else bought you that subscription. Otherwise, thank you. And remember, folks, please do consider subscribing on TikTok and YouTube. Become a monthly subscriber. It helps me out. It also gives you special emojis you can use and gives you access to our weekend show we do pretty much every Saturday. 112 in Las Vegas. Well, you're like Arizona. Yeah. From the UK, happy 4th. Thank you. We do celebrate beating you guys, but still. Although I guess all the nicer that you're wishing us a happy 4th. Favorite founding father, I don't know. I should have one, but I don't. It is funny, actually. I remember when I was in France and I was studying in college. Thank you, Luis. And we were, the teacher asked what the colors were of the French flag. Because like we were taking culture classes and these were foreign student classes, right? Thank you, Alan, in French. And he said, what are the colors of the French flag? And I saw it and I went, I was in my head, I was trying to say, I was like, rouge, blanc, bleu. And he goes, no. Those are the colors of the American flag. Because I said red, white, and blue. And he said, no, those are the colors of the American flag. The colors of the French flag are blue, white, and red, which was for me, that was like a mind expanding experience when I was 19 that has stuck with me to today, because you don't think of even something as the way you say the color of your flag is actually written in stone, right? Like America, red, white, and blue is an actual patriotic expression, the old red, white, and blue. But in France, you say blue, white, red. And it has the same kind of, whereas for me as a foreigner, I was like, oh, those colors are red, white, and blue. It didn't, anyway, it's just kind of funny to me. I thought it was very interesting, So I'm sure other countries are the same. Canada, you're red and white or white and red. What do you say? Again, you probably say it one way though, I'm going to guess. Because typically there's like a way to say it. Although the Brits too, like, what do you guys say? Your guys' flags are red, white, and blue as well, but what do you guys say? Mind you, I think ours is red, white, and blue because we stole yours. And we wanted to like rejigger it is my guess. You know, the Brits say red, white, and blue. Do you really? Oh, that's funny. That's funny. That's the same as us. Oh, that is interesting. That's funny. Germany, black, red, gold. Yeah. So, and see, one thing I always liked with my British friends, whenever I'd go to the UK, was when we get into talks about politics and stuff, to tell them about My Country 'Tis of Thee. I think it's My Country 'Tis of Thee, right? Because we have like 4 different patriotic songs. We have like the national anthem, but we have like 2 or 3 others that are also almost on the same level as the national anthem. But the one is My Country 'Tis of Thee, which is, My country 'tis of thee. Was it Sweet Land of Liberty, of thee I sing. You can kind of get where this is going if you're British. Yeah. So as Sobel put it, we sampled the British song of God Save the King. And we took it and we made a patriotic. Now, this was probably during the Revolution, I'm guessing. I forgot the history here. We took the of thee I see. Oh, maybe of thee I see. I don't know. I thought it was of thee I sing. But we took it and we changed it. God Bless America? No, not God Bless America. No, it's I Country 'Tis of Thee, right? Is it God Save Our Blood, the King, may him victorious, God Save the King, right? My country 'tis of thee, of thee I sing, right? It's God Bless. It's not God Bless America. God Bless America, right? That's a different song. That's a different song. Oh, Stacy, it's too bad you're going to have to leave us. By the way, I will say this too. I sing pretty well. So one of the things for trolls is attacking my intelligence. I'm kind of egotistical that way. I know I'm smart. It doesn't work. Attacking me for singing also doesn't work because I've got a pretty good singing voice. There are a few things in life that I don't have hangups over. One of them is my voice, and the other one is my intelligence. So try harder, trolls. That stuff don't fly. But anyway, yeah, of thee I sing. It is of thee I sing. Ha ha! Thank you, Diana. Ashley. Thank you, Paula. 500 Americans? Actually, I'm fooling 600,000 Americans, Lynn, with my followers on TikTok. How many do you have? I'm going to guess you have 3, and all of them are Russian and Chinese. Jacob. I know the trolls are starting to do this now, but something, and I think it's also, I don't want to get like obnoxious here, Chezak, but I think it's something that people who aren't smart don't appreciate. If you're smart, you kind of know it, and you literally don't have a hang up about it because you know it. It's not like, I don't even like talking about it because I know it's rude to talk about it, but like, it's just not something that it just isn't. So like, you're not that smart. It doesn't work. I mean, it just is not one of those, it just doesn't work. Yeah. So what do you do? What do you do? Oh my. Star Spangled Banner was also sampled? Was a British pub song? Is that true? Somebody Google. That's interesting. Is that true? Star Spangled Banner? That's our national anthem. It was a British pub song? That's funny. Is it? Let me Google and see. Now I want to see that you guys are saying this. I also like, I will say this. I do enjoy saying things that bring the trolls out, because like that last little comment brought a number of trolls out on TikTok and we banned them all. Because you can, certain things trigger the trolls and they're like, ah! And it's great because then it's like whack a troll. Star Spangled Banner we know it was inspired by the US flag. We know that. The lyrics came from a poem. We know that. By the British Navy. The poem was set to the tune of a popular British song written by John Stafford Smith. Oh, thank you. Who's that? Thank you, Life. Written for the Anacreontic Society, a social club in London. Smith's song To Anacreon in Heaven, with various lyrics, was already popular in the US. This setting, renamed the Star Spangled Banner, soon became a popular patriotic song. Oh, that's kind of funky. Interesting. But it was like 1814, which is interesting. Well, wait a minute. Wait. When was it set to music? There's a question. No, the lyrics come from the poem in 1814. This is an interesting question. Wikipedia is not explaining this well. Do you get my point? Yes, the music is from 1773. Yes, the lyrics are from 1814. When did they pair the two? Because it was a poem. When did they pair the music with the lyrics? Let me look here one more time and see, was it 1814 or was it later? Because it was the poem was 1814. Let me see here. That's what I mean, 1860. It could be later because they're not, maybe the summary did a bad job here. Let me look here. Well, early 1900s, it was adopted, Vicky, but I don't know that it didn't exist before then. Let me see here. Let me see. I'm not getting a straight answer here. Oops. Yep, we know what he was inspired by. Let me see here. Aboard the ship that morning, Key began writing his lyrics on the back of a letter. Later afternoon, Key and Burns were released from the fleet. They arrived in Baltimore. He completed the poem. His finished manuscript was untitled and unsigned. Okay. The poem. So it was see, this is what I mean. It was a poem in 1814. And then they jump the section and they don't say. Keith, here we go. Keith gave the poem to his brother-in-law who saw that the words fit the popular melody. This was the official song, blah, blah, blah. Nicholson took the poem to a printer in Baltimore who anonymously, this is actually really bad for Wikipedia. Usually Wikipedia is good. Find the error in the sentence, guys. Nicholson took the poem to a printer in Baltimore who anonymously made the first known broadside printing on September 17th. Okay? September 17th of what year? You freaking morons. I mean, and then it says on September 20th. I mean, like what year? I'm annoyed right now. You know how I get about people who do things poorly, right? This is very Wikipedia. Somebody needs to go get the answer and edit the Wikipedia entry on the Star Spangled Banner. They don't say what year it was that these lyrics of the poem, that the words of the poem were put to the tune of the song. We know the day, but we don't know the year. Thank you, Kelly. Interesting. I'm very surprised about that. That's very bad. Interesting. I don't believe that's true. I don't think that's true. I'd want to know what the source is for that. Maybe it's true. Well, what's the source? He's saying Biden's meeting with key Democrats to discuss stepping down. Maybe, but I'd want to know 1814. Only if you're sure, Alan, because 1814 the words were written. That doesn't mean that's the year that the lyrics were put to the it was written as a poem, is my point, in 1814. Let me see here. Biden news. Hang on. Let me look here. I'm going to guess that there's no news on the Biden front, that what you're reading is a story from earlier from CNN or somebody saying he's meeting with Democrats. But, let's see. Yeah. Oh, thank you, Bryce. My back, you're right. I need to drink more water, and I'm going to try to get a little more calcium. I got the calcium around here somewhere. Yep. Still not seeing anything here. Nope. There's nothing here unless you've got that from a source that is new. Yeah, there you go. CNN top story, Biden absolutely not considering quitting race. That's what I thought. You were getting that from somewhere, but it was somebody quoting a story from 12 hours ago that Biden was finally going to meet with key. We knew he was meeting with key Democrats because he was getting bitched at for not doing it. That is correct, Tree Robitaille. That's the comparison I was going for. Exactly. It's just sort of like there's just certain things in life that are, true, and you just kind of know, you know yourself. But I love when people try to do that. It's like, okay, whatever. Ice and then heat. I may have ice. I don't have heat. But I don't know why it just suddenly did it today. Like somehow it just got, may have been sleeping poorly on it or something. I will drink a little more water. And then, like I said, look for my calcium. I got powdered calcium in my cabinet, my medicine cabinet. I think I got to look for it. Anyway, yeah, the Biden thing, God only knows. Yeah, no, there's nothing. Yep. It was published within a week. Oh, okay, Drake. So maybe it was back then. Okay, that early. I do have a microwave. Yes. Oh, I see what you mean. You mean heat? I can heat like a washcloth or something, or a potato or whatever, right? 7 hours until the polls open in the UK. Woo, woo, woo. Look out. Look out. Oh, man. Wet cloth and microwave. Yeah, that's true. I could do that. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. What I need to do too is I need to do my yoga. I started doing my yoga again, I did yoga about a week ago, and I need to do more. Thank you, SP. I did lose some weight. Thank you for noticing. I did. I finally lost my COVID weight in the last 6 months. I was very happy. So made me feel good. Not easy for any of us, obviously, but I'm glad you noticed. Thank you. Not that it matters, but when it's you, you care. Rice in a sock. No, that's interesting. Does it, well, the haircut, I didn't get another haircut. This is the haircut from a couple weeks ago. The rice in a sock, but will rice in a sock heat up on its own if it's dry? That can't be true. Rice won't heat up on its own, will it? Well, raw rice is going to be disgusting. You're kidding, right? I do not work out, and I should. Dawn. Dry rice in a microwave will heat up. Interesting. I'd worry about dry rice in a microwave ruining the microwave. You know what I mean? You know how they say don't put something in there without a liquid or whatever? I would be worried about that. That's interesting. Wet the sock. I was saying, would it turn into popcorn? But I guess rice doesn't turn into popcorn, so we're okay on that. Rice is water-based. I just never think of rice as still being water. We saw the rice paddies in Indonesia was really interesting. Looking at a rice paddy, I mean, it's like a swamp. It's really interesting. I mean, it's just a swamp, like how they stay wet, Interesting. Okay. I do have rice. Interesting. Rice holds the heat. Well, let me see. Like I said, first I'm looking for my calcium. I didn't, oh, you did it with your daughters, you mean, Danny? Interesting. Okay. Okay. Heated for less than 4 minutes. Okay. Rice is stored at 13% moisture. Interesting. I did not know that. Huh. All right. But anyway, yes, but I kind of need to start doing my yoga again too. I've been meaning to. Cherry pits in a bag. Where the hell do you get cherry pits? I guess if you eat cherries. Well, I bought frozen cherries because fresh cherries are all sweet here. And I didn't want sweet cherries for a pie. I thought that would be gross. But good idea. Cherry pits. That's funny. Cherry pits. Wow. Potatoes are the other thing. I like my dad used to use. He used to use like a potato for his neck. I forgot what it was for. The thing that made me laugh though was then he would drop it and his dog would eat it. So his dog was eating these 10-pound dog eating these full potatoes that were like baked potato. I mean, oh God. Thank you, Jonathan. Crazy. Just crazy. Oh, you have tart cherries. Ooh, Drake. Oh, I'll take those. I love cherries are my favorite. I mean, certainly for cherry fruit, like cherry pies. I've never even eaten raw cherries. I mean, tart ones, but I can't find cherries to cook with because they're always sweet. And I finally found some frozen ones that were half sweet and half tart. So I'm making it and I'm cutting back on the sugar and we're going to see how good it, if it's edible, because fruit pies and things like that, I've always had a disaster with. Either they're not sweet enough or they're too sweet, like always, So I gladly take some of those. Hey, Jason, mom is good. Talk to her today. All is well. But yeah, like my local stores, all I can find is the sweet cherries. And like I said, the frozen ones are mixed sweet and tart. So I'm hoping if it's 50-50, maybe I can get away with less sugar and it won't just be, sickeningly sweet cherries. But I love cherry pie. Oh, didn't mean to do that. I love cherry pie though. Oh. But I was going to make like a sheet pie kind of thing, just to make it easier. I guess same difference. I could make it a pie. There's just no reason to, Anyway, what else? The goat went off I was just sort of talking and went like that. And all of a sudden it went like, thank you, Bagpuss. That just, this time was on purpose. But the time before I was like playing with the goat, and it went off. It's funny. I went by Wegmans a couple of weeks ago and didn't think of looking for cherries. I hate Wegmans though, because Wegmans is just like, I walk through Wegmans and I feel like I'm walking through rich people's zone or something. It feels like everything's overpriced, Bye, Miss American Pie. That's exactly right. That's good, Magical. That was good. Pecan. I don't mind pecan pie. I've liked it. It's kind of a Southern thing. It's a little too sweet for my taste. I've enjoyed it when I've tried it. I've heard a goat in real, a goat. I've heard donkeys in real life. I don't know that I've ever heard a goat. That's a good question. I don't know if I've heard a goat in real life. But yeah, Wegmans walking around was just everything was so expensive. I got annoyed, you know? The Japanese cherry trees don't give cherries, as I recall. Oh, do I ever hear this? No. Fortunately, it doesn't like go off on its own, or I'd be like, that would be kind of creepy. But when people are being jerks, I see what you mean. Like you hear like, I should do that. If somebody's rude to you, just go like, and watch them look at you like, what are you doing? It's a goat, you idiot. It's a Greek goat. Of course it is. Thank you, Super Hornet. Cherry pits. That's what they were. Tree. That's what some people on TikTok were saying. He said she said their massage therapist used cherry pits heated up. They stink. Oh, that's funny. They smell. That's funny. That is funny that they smell. Mince pie. I don't recall if I've ever tried. I don't recall. You Brits make weird things. It's not the kind of thing I would try a mince pie, but we've never made them. We don't make those kind of things here. Maybe Gunther does. The rest of us don't. But I would try it, but I'd try it. Bread pudding. I love bread pudding. You reckon? Exactly, John. Exactly. Ernie, thank you for the heart. Shepherd's pie is excellent, of course. We were talking about mince pie. Somebody asked if I said, I've never had mince pie. Said, I don't think it's made much here, but I said, Gunther may make it. That's a possibility. Have you ever made mince pie? Pork and beans on toast? That's funny. Mince pie used to be big in the South? That's funny. You Southerners with your British expressions and your British food. Pumpkin pie. Now, pumpkin pie is to die for. I made homemade pumpkin pie, but I'm talking using a squash. Oh my God, that was good. A lot of trouble. And honestly, it wasn't that different from a Libby's pumpkin pie. It was very close to a Libby's pumpkin pie, so I'm not sure it's worth the trouble. Thank you, Canada Zen, for the gifts. But it was fun to make, you know. Thank you, User336. Good to see you. You know, mince pie. Mince pie is a dessert. Isn't it? It's not mince meat necessarily, is it? Or is mince meat pie a kind of mince pie that's made with meat? The other thing is I Googled at Christmas what figgy pudding was, and I wasn't very impressed. I forget now, but I wasn't very impressed with what that was either. You guys have a funny notion of pudding as well, as I recall. Thank you, Kiara. In America, pudding means it's going to be good. It's going to be sweet. It's going to be rich, and it's going to be good. In Britain, they say pudding. Who the hell knows what's going to be in it? You know? What are you doing, dog? You want to come in or what? Hello, come on. Come on. She's just hanging. You can hang and watch the neighbors. I don't care. I just thought maybe you wanted to come in. Towards the end of the show, we often get into food, Jacob. It's not always, but Gunther says, mince pie is a sweet pie of English origin filled with mincemeat. I told you, a mixture of fruit, spices, and suet. See, it's that suet part that gets kind of goofy. It's not even meat. Isn't suet like nasty stuff? I'm forgetting. Alexa, what is suet? Alexa, what is suet? It's fat. Oh. Ew. Okay. Alexa, stop. Okay. Let's be a little more precise here. Everyone goes, suet's fat. Suet is the fat surrounding your kidneys. I mean, let's be a little more specific about this, okay? I mean, thank you, Taylor. Saying suet is fat makes it sound like, oh, so it's like adding butter or lard to your dish. It's the fat surrounding the kidneys. I mean, I would eat it. I would try it. I just don't want to make it. I would try it. It might be good. I'm not sure sweet fat is quite the most appealing thing to me, unless it's like a cookie. But it sounds gross. Mikey says it is gross. My grandmother used mincemeat pie. Assume she used lard. Like lard is what I would prefer. I'd probably look for a recipe and make one out of lard. I would try it just to try it. I'm just not sure. I might look for a small recipe, you know, British recipes for dummies. I haven't had British food in a long time. What I had was not good, but I understand it's gotten a lot. Look, I haven't been in the UK since 2007. So back then, literally, we had to go eat at Indian restaurants because there was nothing else good. And I remember I hate Indian food. And I remember my friends going, like, the best restaurants in London are Indian. And I was like, oh God. And I hated the food, of course. But like London's gone through the roof in terms of good food since then, good food culture. So, but back then wasn't great. When I was studying in France, it was even worse. We visited, I don't want to knock him, but visited a friend in the UK, and like their daily meal was, it was me and a French kid living there. A French kid was living there studying abroad, and I was visiting, and we were both kind of like, huh. It was like meat with applesauce kind of on the meat. The vegetables were on the same plate running into the applesauce and the meat. It was just, there was a combination there that I remember the French kid and I both were like, huh. But what do you do? You know, I mean, you know, and it was 1983 or whatever. So, you know, Britain has advanced since 1983 in its culinary wiles. Jellied eels. I like eel in sushi is to die for. Cooked eel, sweet cooked eel. Thank you. But I don't know beyond that. I just don't like Indian food, so I would probably avoid that street. I've had Indian food that was okay once in Paris. My friends made me go. Is unagi? I always forget. Is unagi eel? Yeah. I had Indian food in Paris that my friends made me go, and it was good. Some neighborhood by the opera. That's all I remember. It was very good. I was surprised. Hate Indian food. It was good. Oh, that's nice, Vicky. Enjoy. Paris is lovely. Texas Roadhouse. Is that some kind of barbecue? I'm guessing. I mean, you know, also I don't eat hot food. So, but that's a whole other issue. Like in India, I would probably die because I don't eat hot. Unagi, anago. Unagi is the word I remember, David, but I wouldn't know which one. I usually get the eel with sushi that's sweet that I love, but my local store doesn't carry it. It doesn't. I used to get it all the time. My local store actually had the sweet eel. Oh my God. And I'd get it for my sushi. Oh, now I get salmon, which is still good, but the unagi, oh my God, eel sushi to die for. Sounds gross. Oh, good stuff. Good, very good stuff. Do I think the BRICS are something to worry about? Not really. I mean, whatever. They want to form a party. That's okay, or a coalition. Okay. I mean, the idea of the Russians and the Chinese being with the BRICS is kind of a joke because the Russians and the Chinese are basically hegemons. They're dictators. They want to take over the world. So if you're trying to be some third non-aligned party, you don't invite people who want to take over the world as part of your, I mean, the Chinese are as bad as, frankly, us or the Russians. I mean, as far as we are not exactly people who are like, hey, you know, we're all kind of non-aligned in the middle Americans who just want to get I mean, you know what I mean? Like we want to throw our weight around. So do the Brits and not the Brits. So do the Russians and the Chinese. The Russians don't have any right to anymore because they're no longer an important country. The Chinese are. But so yeah, Russia and China as members of the BRICS is kind of a joke, you know. Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you, Borjan. There's a name, or Borjan, I'm going to say, or Borjan. I'm going to guess it's Borjan. Is that what it is, maybe? Or Borjan? Depending where you're from. Although that name makes me feel like former Yugoslavia. What is that? Am I getting where? Just curious. Where's your name from? And how would you pronounce it in English? Just curious on TikTok. I like interesting different names. The heritage guy is crazy and admitting the truth. Yeah, I saw that. I know. Without a shot fired or whatever the hell he was talking about. Second American Revolution. These people are pigs. I like wasabi. I don't like heat, but wasabi isn't heat. It's a different spice. So I don't mind wasabi on my sushi. Actually, I like it I put it with my with my soy sauce. But it's not hot. It's different. Yeah. Like I actually enjoy some wasabi, whereas hot stuff I hate. I find it disgusting. Water, depending where you are, Contanti, where are you? You're afraid of Russia invading you. Where do you live? They're not going to invade us, that's for sure. You know, but I don't know where you are. Generally speaking, if you're a member of NATO, you should be pretty safe because even if Trump doesn't come and defend you, the Brits and the others will. You know? Is this like a troll on the bridge question, Nicholas? Real wasabi or fake wasabi? I don't know. It's like, thank you, Yaya, for the gift. Putin offered a peace deal today. I didn't even hear it. I'm sure there's no truth to it. I mean, I don't think there was. Trump floated another peace, or a peace deal was floated by Trump's people, but I didn't hear anything about. First of all, I doubt anything real is going to come out of Putin anyway, but I don't. He floated something a couple days ago. Nothing came out of him now, I think. Oh yeah, I don't know about real. I just, the little green wasabi I get with my sushi, I've tried. I don't know anything. And I like the little fresh ginger too, is nice. Not overwhelming with the fresh ginger, but fresh ginger on sushi is very nice. What we call sushi here in the States. I forget. In Japan, what we call sushi might be, what do you call it there? Like the sushi rolls. Aren't they called something else in Japan, I think? Like, isn't sushi there? I'm trying to remember the rice with the fish on top, I think is sushi in Japan, I want to say. Alec is looking to start a war. What's the best pizza you've had? Nigiri? Is nigiri the round one that we call it? Not sashimi. Sashimi is a little different. Nigiri is what I think I'm talking about. A sushi roll that's cut up. In America, we call that sushi, but I believe it's called nigiri for Japanese, whatever. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I knew there was a different word that we don't quite use correctly for it. Yeah. Oh, Yarin, you should see what I do when I'm with your mother. Oh! Thank you. I'll be here all night. Ash, go have some fun with Yarin. No, the troll wrote, you spit a lot when you talk. That's why I said, you should see what I do when I'm with your mother. And I also said it in a Groucho Marx voice just to add to the fun, because that's what I do for you people. Thank you, Pam Pam. I even made it as a Groucho Marx joke to really be special. Oh, did she? I didn't even see. Could you see her in the background? That's funny, MZ. Was she just like, was she, I must have been over like this and she was just, now she's kind of standing here because she got annoyed. She dropped the toy and she's kind of sitting there waiting for me. Sorry, she's on the floor behind me. Yeah, that's her. She kind of drops it and waits like, okay. She knows when the show's over. I'm going to brush her teeth. She gets a little treat. And then we play a little bit. Her name is Sasha. Thank you, Mrs. Toad, for the tiny diny. All right, guys. Well, it's been an hour and 35 minutes. I think we can call it quits. You think? Remember tomorrow, she is kind of pointing, I know. I moved my hand. She poked her head up. That's funny. That's cute. Tomorrow we're going to hang out. Thank you, Ginger. Who was that? Thank you, Jetta, as well. Tomorrow we're going to hang out at 1:00 Eastern time instead of the normal evening show because it's Independence Day. It'll probably be more of I'm not going to do I don't want to do a recap magic. It's going on too long. Sorry. Tomorrow's will be more of a hangout. So I'll read the news, but I'm not going to go through the news in depth tomorrow. It's Independence Day, a little bit of a holiday, but I figure it'll be nice for us to get together and hang out. So let us do that. It's 1:00 Eastern, so 1:00 Washington, D.C. time. I already created the show for YouTube, so you'll be able to, so it's already there. TikTok, if I remember, I'll put one up. Otherwise, just try to remember if you're around. It'll be 1:00 Washington, D.C. or New York City time. Russia will not nuke New York or Washington, Contanti, because we'd nuke them back. That's the bottom line that I'll sort of leave on a more serious note. That's the bottom line that the Russians don't tell you. Every time they threaten nukes, they don't tell you that if they nuke us, we'll nuke them and we'll kill them. So why would they nuke us? It doesn't make sense, right? Of course, they're not going to nuke us if they know we're going to kill them. It's like you not liking your neighbor and you say, oh, I'm going to kill my neighbor. And you mean it. Well, What if you know that if you try to kill your neighbor, he's actually going to fire back and kill you and your entire family? Are you going to attack your neighbor? No. Right? I mean, right? Think of Jeremy. If you knew that if you were to attack your neighbor, he would kill you and kill your family in return, there is no way you would attack your neighbor. That is Russia using nuclear weapons against the West. They know if they use nukes, our nuclear submarines will wipe Moscow and St. Petersburg and the rest of Russia off the map. Therefore, they will not use their nukes, period. They threaten it because they're trying to scare you, and they're doing a good job of it, but that's why they do it. So, no, that is why I don't worry. I think they're obnoxious, and they bother me, and they kill lots of Ukrainians, and they threaten the Europeans. The Russians have the ability to kill a lot of people and cause a lot of trouble, but one of the things they won't do is start a nuclear war because they'll lose one. I mean, we'll lose it too, but so the bottom line is Russia will lose a nuclear war. So why would they do it? They won't. So, and they know it. They just hope you don't know it. All right, guys, have a good night. I'm going to sign off. All right. Tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern. Remember, I will be on, it is already on YouTube, John Aravosis DC, and I will be on TikTok as well at that point. All right. See you guys. Thank you.